thank you. Good morning. Saturday morning. Pretty excited. We're all here. Okay, there's a few people here. Okay, so we are going to start the City Council special meeting, our budget meeting. And it is, 9:01. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. And at 9:01, Dina, do we have a quorum?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to say a prayer and get the meeting started. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. As we begin this budget meeting, grant us wisdom, discernment, and unity. Help us make decisions that are responsible, transparent, and in the best interest of all of our citizens. In your holy name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Okay, the City Council will hold a workshop discussion regarding 2026-2027 fiscal year budget, and we have Jake Weber up front, and we also have Michelle Gelker. I'll let y'all take it away.
Good morning, Council. You have before you, does that help?
Thank you, yes.
Okay. The preliminary proposed 26-27 budget. Understand this is not written in stone in any form or fashion. These numbers will change. We do not have our certified values for the tax rate until next Friday. Here you go. Possibly we could have them as soon as Tuesday, but more than likely it will be this Friday before we have them. So these numbers will change. I just want to make that very clear right now. We can do this however y'all like. We can go line item by line item, or we can go department by department, or how would y'all like to do it?
I think if you speak quick, item by item would be nice. Is that too much for you? You want to do departments that make you feel better?
Could we
Whatever you like, Michelle.
Okay.
Could we start off with just an overview, kind of a health of where we are or where we think we are, and then we probably go department by department and let those department heads discuss where they think their budget needs to be, and then we can kind of have a sense of where we tick and tie all that together.
Yeah, I mean, so like Michelle said, obviously certain things are unknown in terms of the overall, we don't know what our overall taxable value will be yet. So the M&O tax is kind of a placeholder, but we tried to get a framework of the budget doing this. Specifically, there's revenue line items that we feel confident about, expense line items, payroll, things like that, debt. All those things we're obviously pretty confident, specifically debt, like we know what that's going to be, minus if a tax, if those get passed, right? So that's a huge X factor on what does that do to our rate, how much M&O do we have available, and that could, as you mentioned, impact budget available for certain things on the general fund. Big picture on expenses, obviously you have some cost of living adjustments on personnel, you have some just inflationary adjustments on your expense items as expected. We tried to adjust our revenue, like permits, development, based upon anticipated, growth and what's going on that side. And then we also looked at like the enterprise funds and just looked at, hey, where do we expect each fund to be? And really the goal on those is to try to get a break even. I think on the wastewater specifically, it's a little bit more difficult because it's, Michelle can speak to this, but it's a brand new system that's about to be open, right? And so getting a feel for what the expenses will be, also looking at timing of when will Hudson Oaks pay their portion of the operations. We're still working through some of that. So that's not in there yet, but I know we're looking at that in terms of, timing of when they would pay us. That could be a significant change to the budget when that would come in. And I think that as she goes through it, she'll probably point out some bigger change line items, that we've looked at, or things that we're unsure of. I know legal is obviously one of them, but there's a lot of unknown because we just don't know, hey, how long will this play out? What do we expect? Probably need to get with the attorneys on some anticipated fees on those type of things. And obviously, I think, they went to the department heads and just tried to get, hey, what are your needs, right, on each department? What are your asks? And, we only have so many dollars to go around. And so it's just a matter of, okay, again, debt service, payroll, certain things you can't move, but they're discretionary things is we're just trying to fill in those gaps. And I think that's what we'll touch on. And again, whatever your feedback would be on, would you like more for roads or parks or whatever, those are things obviously we have placeholders in, but can be moved.
Perfect.
So council, we'll start with admin department. This is administration, of course. This is going to be Tony, part of my salary, Andy, Mandy, and part of roads. So make up your admin. This is also where your taxes get credited to. Again, like I said, your M&O tax, that's a placeholder for now. Don't settle on that number because we don't know until it gets certified. Sales tax, we did bring up some. Jake and I talked about it, and we feel very confident we're going to hit 2.3 million this year. So we feel that we can do that again next year. We have our August payment should be over 200,000, and then we've been averaging about 180 for the other payment in between the quarterly reports. So we did bring that up. We kept everything else very similar. Just trying to maintain. You will see your rental income came down. That is the loss of Sylvan, and then reducing the size being paid for by McKnight and the ESD. So that your rental income did also came down. Salaries, I'm going to hit all departments at the end, if that's okay, just make it easier. So,
Yeah.
all your other expenses related to admin are very similar. We are going to do something a little different this coming year, is that we're actually going to define what each line item means to make it easier, because we end up putting money just wherever, paying bills from wherever we have money. We're going to stop that. So even if it puts a line item over at the end of the year, I'd rather know that that's what we're actually spending out of there than it's just pick and choose it. So we did drop travel and training down some. You're seeing in property and liability, $18,000. That is actually the insurance for this building through TML. We pay it yearly. That is for this building in particular. I'm also going to start breaking out our attorney's fees a little better. So you see 50,000 credited to admin for that. And then computers and tech, we're renaming a few line items. So if you see the little star next to it, that is my reminder to go back and rename that in the next budget. But we are going to have to replace some computers. Overall, from last year's proposed, this particular department did go up, but I will be honest, that's legal fees right there. So, sorry. Any questions about admin?
On the computers and tech, we're looking at, you said you're looking at renaming it, but I was also curious, this may be more of a Todd question, but so many things are moving now to subscriptions instead of, before you'd get a computer, maybe on a 3-year cycle, you'd buy Microsoft Word you'd have it. Now you've got to rent it every year. How many of our programs and upticks are we seeing there where everything's moving more to that subscription base and we're going to have to see these payments that used to be good for 3 years are now like yearly?
Good morning. So we've been doing a subscription basis for some time. That's been Microsoft's ecosystem for a while now. So we pay a per user license fee, like it comes with 365. Council and staff directors are on 365E3, which is the enterprise suite that you would on special servers. And non-department heads are on 365 basic. So that's been Microsoft's business model for a very, very long time. With that, that contract renews yearly, and we pay for it monthly. So
Okay.
does that answer your question?
I think so. Are there any other, besides Microsoft, obviously there's a lot of different softwares out there. Are we seeing that's been the case across the board for a while? Are we expect any more of those to continue to become more of a yearly expense than a one-time purchase?
We've been there and we're already doing that, like with
Okay.
Encode and all the other software that we use. It's a yearly, whether it be website, Encode, some police department uses some software as well. To add lib here, I think our big focus and concern is our hardware. Our hardware's been in place for a very, very long time. I've been supporting the city now for about 3 years, and the equipment that I inherited 3 years ago is still here. And technology, that's ancient. A lot of our systems were running on 8 gig RAM, which nowadays that's standard, that's a horrible standard. After speaking with staff and analyzing, we've set our standard for new machines, we've got 32 gig. So we've identified about a dozen or so machines at City Hall that need to be upgraded, and we've identified about 8 machines at the PD that need to be upgraded. So that's my bigger concern there. Long term, I think you'll see AI go to a machine-based local platform. NVIDIA and Microsoft are in partnership right now working on that technology. So I think the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see the PC world change dramatically. But what we need as a city right now, staff needs better equipment. And I think that's our focus.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you. So Michelle, I have a question. So when we talked about legal fees before, I see right here proposed $50,000 for a year.
Yes, ma'am.
And 7 months, we're at $322,000, and we don't even have May or June yet. And
Again, I said I spread them out between departments, so you're gonna see them in other places, so.
so you're going to take money from somewhere else to compensate for that, you mean, or what do you mean?
No, like, what we're doing in this proposed budget is, we're gonna actually start, depending on what they're doing for us, it will go towards that department. Right now, it goes into one lump spot, and we're not gonna continue doing that, we're gonna spread it out. So we've got to put legal fees in those areas in the proposed budget to cover for next year.
So any legal fees that go with administration will be charged here in this fund. If there's
Correct.
legal fees associated with development, they would go there. Legal fees associated with water, wastewater, any of those will each have their own
Correct.
charged department, and we'll see, and then that cumulative number will be our total legal fees for the year, correct? Okay.
And those have always been separated. The water, anything that's
Right.
another fund, I think this is just saying by department, she's kind of splitting
Spreading
it
them
out.
out.
Yeah, more, instead of putting it more into one department.
So how they bill it, so if it's
Yeah.
different departments, you'll put it there.
So it gives you more transparency when you go back and look and see what department specifically was that legal for.
Instead of a
Right now,
whole.
everything goes into legislative except for the water stuff, with Harris Finley Vogel, that comes completely out of water, but everything else comes straight out of legislative. We're gonna start splitting these out, so.
Okay, thank you.
So most of these numbers look really consistent year over year, but I was looking at health and dental insurance, and they look like they've cut in half.
On admin, I would say that's probably because of Brian, because we paid for his full family on them.
Okay.
And so, under Tony's contract, we are not, she was just paying for her, and so that would be the reason for that.
I do want to note that our health insurance did increase 14% this year. So, and we were able to work that down from, I think, 22. So we were able to negotiate a lower rate with them if we if we stayed with Cigna, then we did negotiate a lower rate with staying with them. But it still did go up 14%.
Any other questions on admin? Okay. We'll move on to development.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
Morning.
Okay, going through development, I will say in the revenue section, personally, I feel that we are pretty conservative. Given the development that is going to be coming in, we will likely exceed that, but as Rose presented earlier to everyone, we like to set it lower, and if we exceed it, fantastic. One of the other things that I really love is that our attorneys have given us the idea of, as we work with developers and do development agreements or anything that comes in with annexation, they're doing a professional services agreement where we're reimbursed for plan review, attorney's fees, different things like that. So it comes out in a wash.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely adore that Judy brought that to light for us. It helps also for the taxpayers to know that, you know, we're working it out with the developer.
Good.
What's what's our contractual obligation on the PSA when they sign it? Is it 12 months or is it during the
It's-
term of their build out or?
It's as needed, really. They do a lump sum, and whatever they use, we deduct. They have to reimburse more if they go over.
Yeah.
But it's just until it's
Gotcha.
exceeded.
Cool, thank you.
Moving on, personnel, salaries. Do you have any questions on any of those? I don't think that anything's really changed as far as that is concerned. Pretty good. Everything's pretty consistent with the previous year.
I will say, if you look under consultant and professional, under contractual services, we did not budget anything last year, but we did spend out of there $9,300 here, 94. That was for North Texas Inspections. They're the company that's come in when Randy's out sick or not available. This is that contract company y'all approved probably about a year ago to come in and assist. So we did go ahead and put some money in there for that. We also, as she was saying, there is now money in the attorney's fees. Put 18,000 in there, because there's always gonna be a little bit that you're not gonna get reimbursed, but, so there's 18,000, we expect at least 15,000 to be reimbursed to those.
Then in the economic development side, there's Lido's Pork and Pig and Parker County Brewing. That is where that's budgeted for the 380 agreements.
Which line is that?
That's going to be under, it's on page 3, under economic development. And then also the software is lumped under development, the software GovWell that we passed that will lump everyone's plan review together, fire inspections and code enforcement.
Perfect.
Be on that side.
Chelsea, if I remember correctly, does that number, is that for 1 year and it covers multiple years, one-time fee versus it being a recurring every year, correct?
No, it's annual. I believe it's annual.
It's annual?
Yes,
Okay.
For GovWell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's annual.
Yeah.
We did not, we plan to do more travel training as we're growing. I know I want to go and do that, so
Yeah.
that is also allocated for certifications of different kinds. We
And I
are,
think that was the same as it was last year, the last few years, actually.
Correct. I don't think we've ever exceeded that, though.
No.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am. I know.
Sure. Thank you.
Next, we have fire.
Morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
Morning, Charlie.
Come on.
For this year's budget, very well see a flat budget, just as far as equipment.
Can you speak louder?
Yes,
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you, Charlie.
You see a little bit of increase in salaries with the cost of living. Other than that, I'm open for any questions. Have any?
Fire did stay fairly flat. Of course, they bring in no income, so, and they were totally dependent on taxes and other revenue. But, we did keep them fairly flat. Their inspection revenue comes through development.
Okay.
I do have two questions. The software, I know it's got an asterisk next to it, so it's gonna get renamed. So what would that rename be for that one, since that one is?
Let me rephrase it. Software is now the name of it. It's
Okay.
just something.
I believe it was under contractual services in previous years, and it
Well,
felt,
it was like, oh gosh, I can't remember, so long that didn't even, computer and technology, software,
And then the other one was, at the very, very end, the vehicle lease, activity year-to-date, for 25, 26, we're at about 16, and then we're proposed 38. So we're under budget on that, but,
So, the new leasing company, American Leasing, American National Leasing.
right.
Yeah, so, they only do once a year billing, and we just
Okay.
pay that, so you will, these are from the end of June, so we just pay that in July, so you do not have that included in there, but.
so it should be relatively what we're budgeting for.
Yeah,
Got it, okay.
I think if I remember correctly, it was 37,900 and change, so.
Okay.
And storm, the emergency management, which is what we did pay out of there, is the storm sirens. We're actually gonna move that under city services, just makes more sense to me to be there.
Okay.
Any other?
Charlie, I guess I do have one question. I know we got new vehicles for you and Kevin. Is there any additional equipment of needs or anything like that? I know we've discussed that before, but,
We're in pretty good shape as far
Okay.
as equipment.
Okay.
Our department is relatively new with the operation portion of the fire department going to the ESD. Gave us an opportunity to get into our equipment when we came over to the city,
Yeah.
or stayed with the city. So we're in good shape there.
okay. I mean, I know you guys do.
I'm comfortable with the,
Okay. I know you guys do way more than just fire marshaling stuff. Y'all
That's
handle all of our code enforcement and everything else too, so, okay.
but we're doing well in that regard.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else?
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll move on to legislative.
Jake, can you grab that mic? Throw it back. Thank you.
Legislative fund, this is gonna be, Dina, and then y'all, this is where most of y'all's, training, travel training, stuff like that comes from. Point out, you have some? That, we did, there's a line item called flowers, gifts, and plaques there. We moved that, because it was in each department, and each department had a little bit, we moved that all into one spot under city services. Because most of the time, it's City Hall that handles that stuff. So that's all moved into one place. Printing and binding, if you'll see, there's 50,000 there for that. That's gonna be, for the home rule charter, when y'all decide you're ready to have that, send that out.
Say that again, Michelle, which line item was that?
Printing and binding, it's 10-005-58204.
Oh, I see it.
Is that enough?
That is not near enough.
What did we finally, how much was it, Nina? How much was the quote?
The postage part, I think, is the one that's the most expensive for that. I've heard 75,000
I was gonna
for
say
that. The
registered
election
mail and
cost
whatever.
is 12, right at 12.
Well, this is just the printing and binding is the count. The postage isn't lined out here.
How'd y'all come up with that, Michelle?
The 75?
The 50 that's on, and you're saying 75, is it somewhere else then?
And 75, I thought I heard her say was the postage. This is 50 for printing and binding, so maybe they're separate.
I have not checked that number, but I've heard, someone else told me, I don't know if it was Michelle or somebody else told me that it was going to be around 75,000
They may be broken into different places, but we probably need to make sure we've got that
for the
covered.
postage to mail them. Because the deal is, if you have 4 people that are registered to vote at the same address, every person has to receive a copy of it.
Right.
It can't just be sent to, you know, if we only have 3,000 customers, there may be 4 to 6 people in each home. You can't just send 3,000 out to each house address. You have to send it to each individual registered voter, which is around 4,800, the last number that I saw from the county.
And we have to send it registered mail too, correct?
We have to send them registered mail and a copy of it, which is gonna be, you know, I mean, even if it's condensed, it's still gonna be a little booklet of some sort that's gonna
35
cost, I would imagine, a lot at the post office. I think we get those printed with our company that does our water bills, so that will go to them, and then, of course, you know, that would be a discounted price, but as opposed to taking it to FedEx or somewhere to get it printed, because our copy machines couldn't handle it here.
Sure.
And that's what I've done in previous cities, is send it out to the printer that does our water bills.
Makes sense.
So that would give it, yeah, and they would give a discount for that, but I don't know what that number is either for the printing part of it. I mean, I think until we have an actual number and we decide what we're actually doing and what our document is actually gonna look like, you know, and if it can be condensed or whatever, then I think where I was before, we did a little small booklet. But again, if you have 1 person or you have 10 people that are registered in your home throughout the city, the whole entire city zip code, our city limits, then each person that lives in that house that is a registered voter, whether they vote or not, they have to get a copy of it. That's the state law.
Okay.
I think we were looking at like $15 a piece to mail.
Something like that, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like I said, until we get the number of pages and the document actually
So it's
set in stone,
72,000
that this is
print.
what we're gonna do, then, you know, we'll get a better number, but that is,
75
you know,
plus.
it's better to estimate high and not
Agreed.
need all of that than it is to estimate way too low and not get enough money there.
Okay.
Yes.
Close to
But I think for
150,000.
budget purposes, we'll highlight it, and that's subject to change, obviously, just like some of the other ones. As we get more info, because I think we're only July, so we got time to get more data on that.
Plus, if you start the process, even though the actual election would be held in November, if you start the process next month, you know, and if it goes to be approved to be on the ballot,
Right.
that process will start, and some of that expense will come out of this budget as well. So it will be probably split between the 2 budget years, because it won't be all in November. We would start that process as soon as council makes a decision and approves it, and then it would go from there. But the contract for the county is about almost $12,000 for an election in November.
So right now, we're talking the meeting August the 11th.
August
Since
11th
the
is
deadline is.
deadline.
Yeah.
That is our deadline. So
August
you would have-
17th.
You would still have the end of August, you know, the month of August and September to start that process of maybe getting them printed or whatever, you know.
Right.
So that could split that apart. So,
Gotcha.
just a thought.
Okay, thank you.
New to this budget is, or to this department is communication services. This is going to be y'all's cell phone, iPads, maybe even laptops, anything that connects. We pay a cell phone fee to cell line on, so.
Okay.
Special events, we have completely done away with that, money in that. What I'd like to do is anything that actually qualifies for that, I think would also qualify for hot funds. So I'd like to start pulling that money from hot funds instead. Special events is kind of a tricky because it can also get you in trouble. So the way I was always taught is taxpayer money, if you don't want to use it for something else outside of your city, if you want to use it for a special event your city is putting on, that's great, that's wonderful. But for another governmental entity or private entity, that's a big no-no. So one of the things that I did with this budget was take out special events. If we do have anything that qualifies, I'd really prefer it to come from hot funds, to meet those criteria, so.
How much do we have right now in hot funds?
670,000, if I remember right.
Okay, thanks. Building up,
Let's
okay.
put on a big shindig then. Just kidding.
Are there any special events that you'd be worried about that would fall outside the realm of hot tax? Is there something we need to budget for in this? Or if it doesn't fall into the hot tax category, then it just doesn't happen? Is that more the thinking?
That's kind of
Okay.
the way I look at it, yes. So,
Okay.
legal and city attorney, $500,000 there. Then we also went up on elections administration for anticipating elections both in November and May. Any questions about legislative?
The only thing I'm seeing obviously is the deduction, and I know these are proposed numbers, but like travel and training, like if we decide we're going to a TML meeting or we're traveling for some, NCOG or anything like that, I noticed that's dropped dramatically from current budget to proposed for next year by 7,000. And I'm assuming that's just because of the pace of the activity. I mean, there's no real reason to have a $12,000 budget if we only used $1,400 of that. And-
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh,
We'll move on to municipal court.
Just kind of gives an explanation of where the costs go, or stuff goes. And we, yeah, sorry, please make focus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. You.
Yeah.
Court, we actually kept fairly flat as well. The revenue side of court right now is down, just so y'all are aware. That's, we've just not had as many tickets being issued, so there's not as much going through court right now. So I did bring that revenue proposal down, just in case there's a layover for this year with that.
Why is that? Do we have fewer, as we talked about, fewer police writing tickets? Or are we just slowed down? What's going on?
More law-abiding citizens now? Yeah.
I'm sure that's it.
No, you can't speed through all the construction
Okay.
and the traffic.
If we had that, okay.
I was told that our police officers were told to stop working the interstate, and that is where the majority of your tickets come from.
So a question, is that, because I did get calls on our city police vehicles being on the freeway, just the congestion causing the slow up in that, or what is
I
that?
cannot answer that question because I do not know, so the police.
Quincy's sitting there,
Well, I think that was a.
looking at
purpose
you.
Administration.
So what's going on?
What's going on with the tickets?
Fewer tickets, if we're off the freeway, as Michelle says?
Yes, so.
We can't get our speed up, or what?
We still have, speeders still exist. A lot of accidents up on the interstate. The issue was, previous people told us to stop working the interstate, so a lot of the guys, that's where we did a lot of our traffic stops. So, a lot of late at night, most of the speeders come through late at night. Now you do have the construction, however, now it's coming up and down because people are cutting off the interstate, cutting across the grass.
There you
So-
go, which is totally illegal, is it not? Although we have a road that,
Well, that's not
you
actually.
can pave
a
it,
road.
yeah?
That's where they kept going across.
That's right.
They created that.
Yes.
So, tickets are coming up, however, there for a while, we were told not to. So, we were told to stay in the neighborhoods, which again, staying in the neighborhoods is important, but you're not gonna write many citations in our neighborhoods here.
So that has changed
Yes,
since we changed.
it has definitely changed.
Okay, makes sense.
The guys are back out working again. Again, we still get calls, so you're talking about the traffic up on the interstate. So if you have an accident or something there, people have to pull over for the police, got 2 lanes.
Right.
So that's where congestion comes from.
Right.
So if there's an accident, we have a fire truck that's gonna be up there blocking lanes. We all have to try to get up there, so that's where the issues come.
Those are priorities,
But we have
right,
to get up there and we have to do, we still work accidents.
right.
And not only that, though, majority of our drug busts happen off the freeway
Yes.
from a speeding violation. So why we pulled them off, I still have no idea, but.
Yeah. We got a loose explanation from someone, but it wasn't a great one.
Yeah.
The guys want to get up there and work. They're young. We're going to allow them to get up.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Can we get our parking tickets up a little bit? I saw we had one parking ticket for $14. Can we get that?
Well, I will say, most parking tickets, they don't, usually the first one gets dropped.
Okay.
So, they write them, but if it's their first parking ticket, it's probably going to be.
Gotcha.
So, unless they're a repeat offender, we're not going to get much up parking.
Where are you parking that you can't park?
I know Willow Park Village has signage up that says
Yep.
you can't park on one side of the road, and that's usually where you get most of them.
Yeah.
Or you'll
Or
find
opposing parking
semis
stalls.
park where they're not supposed to park.
Oh,
Handicap parking.
We'll roll up on people where they're not, next to the fire.
Hydrant.
Fire hydrant.
right,
Yes.
those.
So, different areas you can't park, people do park there. We have to go get them.
Gene, have you had an issue parking somewhere?
No.
Raising your hand?
I believe that the bottom part of Kingsgate Road also has prohibited parking.
Oh.
The signs were taken down some years ago.
rode semis in that area. People will pull off the road and just make a parking lot for themselves.
Take a little nap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they leave the truck.
Oh, they do? Oh, well. Good place to leave it.
But yes, we've had to deal with those issues as well, so.
Okay.
But
Okay.
again, if it's their first offense, most of the time, if they bring it to court, they drop that first. So,
Okay.
as long as they don't do it again, we're not being criminal.
Okay. Thank you very much.
The only other thing in court I would point out is we're also gonna have to replace 3 laptops this year, so, you see Computers and Techs has some money in it this year for those replacements. Those are for the judge, the prosecutor, and I believe Michelle.
I will say another thing that affects the revenue too is the ability for the cities to pay. One of the big things that we have to ask them, or that the judge has to ask them, do they have the ability to pay? If they do not have the ability to pay, they have to fill out a financial affidavit. The judge has to review it. They have to put in all of their, what they pay, what they make, if they have any government assistance or anything like that. So the economy affects it too, with their ability to pay.
So do we normally put them on like a payment plan or something like that?
Put them
Or?
on a payment plan. If they are below the poverty level, then it's required that they, not required, well, yeah, that they give them indigency. So
Gotcha.
basically, it's what,
Really?
jail time wages, yeah.
Oh, I got you. I got you. They can sit it. Yeah, they'll sit it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then we have collection company too, right, that,
So the collection company, we do send it to collections. I am actually in the process of researching if there is a possibility that we could do it in-house.
Yeah.
So we could keep that money.
I was gonna say, because we probably take a major haircut if going to
Yes.
collection.
Well,
Pennies
so
on the
whatever
dollar.
we make from that, they get back.
Yeah.
So whatever we put on top of there, so they get 30%, that's
Yep.
what's added to the total balance. And then whenever we get it in, collections gets about 30% back.
Gotcha.
I know there's been some talk about moving court and some of the, obviously, renovation costs that'll be associated with that. Are we going to find that under this portion, or is that going to be more on the administrative side?
So, and Michelle may have to help me, she has 2 funds that we don't see that are, court.
Court security, court
So
technology.
Here you go.
they're actually on here. If you look at
On your sheet?
the ones that are designated, these are the ones that are on page 3. Security, local division, diversion, technology, and the jury fund. Those are all, they can only be used for certain things. So the security fund can be used for cameras, bailiffs, any kind of security that the court uses. The technology is the same way. That can include our computers, anything technology. So I believe that when we do the renovations down here with the court, anything that we're putting up for security purposes, we can take it out of this fund.
And we really should, we've been growing those funds
Yeah.
for years and have not
Yeah,
really
so-
spent much on them. There's like 140,000 combined,
Yeah.
all those funds.
Yeah, so they were split out, they were split up, and then this last year, or the last legislative update, they put them together. So the ones that are split out have more in them than the one that is put together. Because we have been collecting in that one for, I guess, maybe a year.
And we're confident that the funds that are there now will cover any renovations that need to be made this season?
I think they will. I mean, if there's anything left over that needs to be done, then is there anything from the, are you doing anything from the building?
We could, there's,
We do have some money in the building fund. We got about 13, no, it's like 13, 14,000 in
Is
that
it?
building
Okay.
fund. So there's a little bit in there from when this building was purchased, that kind of thing. So,
I don't think we'll use any of that, just because we had a preliminary amount of how much it would cost, and it was right at what?
65?
65. Now he's gonna have to come back again and give us a final estimate. But as far as I know, I figure it's probably, we'll be able to use all of that estimate.
I was going to say, I think the meeting that I kind of walked in on that day, we were discussing how fiscally responsible they were going to be about being able to use those funds, especially on design and structure, because it was more security-related basis, and then the technology basis behind that. So I don't think there was any variance from that, being able to use all of that, so.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Any other questions for Michelle?
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Police Department.
All right, Quincy, let's talk about these tickets now.
I think, what I'd like to do real quick, Todd, can you take me over to the salaries real quick, please?
That's going to be at the back of your documents. Council has a copy of that. It's on the very back of your documents. We just got that late yesterday afternoon, so I just attached it to the back of it there.
Perfect.
So Quincy was one of the first I sat down with, and my comment to him is, what do you actually have to have? Because $10,000 raises and more police, it stretches the budget as it is. Police already is up to over $2 million, and so we compromised, if you will, and so that's why I want to go ahead and point out salaries. So you have two proposals as far as salaries for PD. Now, so that whole set of line items in PD will change depending on what y'all decide or how y'all want to move forward. There's a 5% salary increase. That is the top one, is totals between everything, insurance, taxes, 1.7 million. And then the second set, which is, I believe on the next page, is going to be the 10,000 that the mayor was requesting. And that takes us up to 1.8. I will say Quincy's been very good about getting people hired. He requested 5 more positions, and I said, what can we do? Can we limp by for another year with less? And we agreed on 3. So technically 3. So you'll see there's the chief salary in there. We also went for 2 sergeant positions, even though they may end up being officers. We went with the upper amount as far as pay. But I wanted y'all to be aware of that, thinking on that as we talk about police budget. So
Quincy, you looking for a night sergeant and a day sergeant? Is that what the request is for sergeants, or are you trying to?
So we're looking for a sergeant to cover each shift, so
Yeah.
that's 2 day shifts, 2 night shifts. Right now, we have 2 sergeants, so both of them on night shift right now, each one has an officer with them because they counts as a shift with them.
Yeah.
So I've gotten enough people hired now to where, once I get them out of training, those 2 guys, what's gonna happen right now is they'll end up splitting those 2 shifts, so they'll have some, probably a little 2 already, where they could be on day shift some, and they can be on night shift some, but you'll have, sorry, you'll have at least 3 officers there. So
Perfect.
you have a supervisor if they need to contact them, and they can do that until we promote someone else to a sergeant. So moving forward, what I've talked to our guys about is trying to promote from within. So anybody that wants to be a detective, anybody that wants to be a sergeant, I've had them reach out, tell me what you want to be, where you want your career to go. So several people have done that, and we're going to put them in classes, put them in different classes for those positions, start watching how they work calls, how they work cases, and try to promote them to those positions.
Gotcha.
To where they want to be. So that way we're promoting from within rather than trying to bring somebody else in from outside.
Have we eliminated the corporal role? I noticed there's not a,
So we had corporals became sergeants.
okay,
So corporals were our shift supervisors for a long time.
yeah.
Which didn't make much sense. So we went with sergeants. Usually your corporals are under your sergeant.
Gotcha.
So if the sergeant isn't there, then the corporal will run the shift. So eventually, I'd like to bring those back once we have some growth. So once we have some growth, it's possible to bring those corporals back, but as of right now, it's better to just have a sergeant.
Yeah.
So my question is, the reason that came up, and we're talking about the 10,000 amount, that was one that a year ago, that Willow Park Police were underpaid compared to all surrounding cities. What happened to pursuing that, seeing where we are as far as the data, the
We are still-
survey?
Yeah, we are still working on that. So there are companies that do it, but they're pricey. So
Right.
We're actually, Rose is putting out open records requests to other cities and getting that information, compiling it ourselves. So we're working on doing that internally.
Well, that makes sense, because I know, Quincy, you were saying that you were reaching out to other cities and didn't get answers from all of them. That's our stalemate here a year later, that we can't find that out?
That was a couple months ago. That was the.
I know, my request is a year ago. I've been trying, so, yeah, didn't happen.
Couple months ago, so I did get several back. When I got several back, we were going to look at having a company do it, so I was told to hold tight until we figure out which way we're going to go.
Right.
Now that we've decided, then I will get PD stuff going again, and I will get it put together to get the road.
Okay.
And Rose is requesting all of that information comprehensively too, so.
So that information we'll probably have in a couple weeks, a
It's hard to
month?
say whenever they get us back the open records request information. So she's gotten quite a bit so far, and so it's just a matter of getting past this. She's been spending a lot of time working on this stuff. So once we get past budget stuff, we'll go ahead and start getting that information together so we can present it to council.
So how are we putting it into the budget if we so desire to
We're
bring our police
guesstimating-
up?
We're guesstimating based on what our budget is now. And we kind of
Right.
can't get blood out of a stone, so we're working with what we've got. Because it really doesn't matter what they come in with if we don't have the money to raise them, which we don't. So
So Rose, what cities are you reaching out to?
We have looked at Aledo, Hudson Oaks, Azle, Mineral Wells, Benbrook, Weatherford, and there's a few others in
Springtown.
DFW that are comparable to us population-wise and growth-wise. So I'm pulling those, I think Pilot Point and Sanger are on that list. We have some data through TML on salaries with those.
Right.
So, yeah, it's as comprehensive as we can get doing it at a staff level.
Okay, well, that'd be nice to get something done there. I would appreciate that. Okay.
I will tell you, I've already gotten some of the information back from some of the other cities. I would like to get more numbers so we have a broader
Yeah.
picture. But we are actively working on it, so that project is not far from completion.
Great. Okay. That'd be
And
nice.
we're trying to get that as accurate as we can, just because obviously PD is a little easier, but for staff numbers, because we have most of our employees, I mean, all of our employees do more than one job. So that is kind of, that delineation is kind of
comparable.
hard to get apples to apples, because we don't really have apples to apples with every city. So, but she's working on doing really well with that, so.
Okay. Well, the police are on my radar for a year, so I would
Yeah.
appreciate getting that done. Okay.
Again, you know, we're trying to deal with doing the best that we can with what we have. I mean, we would love to give everybody 10% raises across the board, but we just don't have the sales tax for that.
Okay.
Can you switch me back over, please? Will you switch back over to,
PD?
outside of that, I'll let Mitch do some talking as well, but I wanted to point out on, 10-007-58253, the safety equipment supplies. We were over in that line item this year, but that was outfitting the vehicles mostly, as well as safety vests.
I'll take that all day. I'll take that over all day for safety vests.
And then 10-007-58404, property and liability. Fire had, so we were pulling insurance for the fire portion of the PSB out of the fire. I'm moving that all into one building, and that will become all from the police department now, so.
So I have a question, I'm going to go backwards. Quincy, since you're sitting here, where are we on our safety vest? Does everybody have up to code and safety vest, or are we coming up short?
Everybody's been fitted and they've been ordered,
Okay.
so we're just waiting on them to get.
Speaking of that, I know we were working on there was a program, I can't remember the exact, say it again?
The grant?
Yeah.
Yes. So, there were problems with the grant. I got the problems fixed.
Okay.
So got it sent back into the state, and the grant will be issued, I believe, end of August, early September.
Okay.
We'll know if we got it or not.
Okay.
So once we get it back, if we're approved for it, then we'll be able to take those vests that we ordered and charge them back.
Gotcha. And then that would take care of the overage then on that line item then, because we paid out of pocket first.
Yes.
Okay, so that's, yeah, even better.
Under contractual services, I did bring that down a little bit. That is currently dispatch to Parker County. We've been running right at 100,000 with that. The vehicle lease, again, we just made the payment on that for the new ones for American National Leasing. We will not be paying Enterprise anymore, so it dropped down some, but it effectively his was 91. There's technically two leases, like 91 and 93, if I remember correctly. So that's why we went ahead and did 200,000 there. Animal control, I bumped up to 55. Animal control is one of them, they charge depending on how much you use it. So
Yeah.
we used a little more, and we got 2 more quarters we technically will have to pay for, so this budget year, so.
Is that a county-controlled service? We just contact county and then they come? Yeah.
What's our main animal control issue? Deer or what?
Deer,
Stray dog, yeah.
yeah.
No, really? No goats on the road, right? We're good there?
Public Works takes care of the goats, so.
Who does?
Public Works.
Wasn't mine. I had them corralled. Somebody's fence, Chase, don't know whose, don't put them in mine.
Chase, are you charging us for that? Do we need to?
Are they? Not too heavy? Okay. Sorry, side note, go ahead. Yeah, no pigs.
The only other one I wanted to point out was computers. Todd has actually figured out a way between him and Quincy, we're not replacing all the computers, but it seems like we're replacing a good majority of the
Yeah.
PD, so.
And I want to give a huge kudos to Todd for that, because I know he worked out a deal on all those computers and everything else, and like almost cut the price in half as far as getting all that technology taken care of and all the monitoring systems and everything else, so that was huge.
Yeah, the software and
Yes.
to get everything to communicate with the county properly, et cetera, et
Saved us a ton
cetera.
of money.
We did a great job.
Yeah.
That was a last minute huge job that we didn't know was coming.
Yeah.
We did a great job.
Yeah. Good job, Todd. I know you're back there.
Any questions on the police department?
Good job.
So it's probably not
Yeah.
technically budget related, but could be as far as revenue, we talked about with all the construction, are we focusing more on those unintended off-ramps? We talked about having people more on the freeway, but
We are, DPS has also been in town helping with that as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there's been a lot. You'll see 2 of our cars out, 2 pulling over, and DPS have 2 more down the street. So it's been,
I think I saw Charlie or Kevin went over there the other day.
well, even Brian to come in the morning to catch them doing the hip block.
I was going to say, can you put a fence up on their,
We've asked and he doesn't know.
oh, you can't block them? Because you know where they're going, right?
Talking about putting up a barrier.
No, I'll let you do that.
Safety hazard, unfortunately.
I saw where DPS arrested one, they left his car there
yeah.
in the drive.
Give them a parking ticket,
That
take
Tesla
care of
was sitting there
that.
Parked there for a week.
We had an 18-wheeler try to do it in the rain and get mowed.
Oh, dear God.
Wow. Okay,
They'll never know.
great times. Okay, through the police, moving on. Thank you, Quincy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next is city services. So city services, if you're not aware, is kind of your catch-all. If it doesn't fit into something else, city services is where it usually ends up at. A large majority of public works, except for streets, comes out of that. So Chase usually ends up in charge of this budget, more or less. But this is also going to be your utilities for all your buildings normally, repairs, maintenance, that type of stuff. Didn't really change anything here. One thing I'd like to point out is under contractual that is right, contractual services. I&E does our mowing for here, parks, stuff like that. Everything was coming out of this contractual services. We're actually going to break that out going forward so that parks will be separate from the mowing here. So there is 15,000 back into that. There's 67 currently spent, but a majority of that is already for parks.
Speaking of what, just going back, I just saw a line item of, I think it was like sale of equipment or something like that. I know we approved some sales of that equipment. Is that looking into the 26, 27 budget, or is that going to go into this current?
Probably the next budget by the time we get through everything.
Gotcha.
Because the auction usually takes time to set up and
Yeah.
get it scheduled.
Do we have to pay an auction, like, what's their rate and all that, do we know? Is it a percentage based on the amount?
So, yes, so we use a company called GovDeals, and what they do is actually, so whatever the bid amount is, that is what is actually coming to us. Whoever wins the bid actually pays an additional amount on top of that.
Good.
And that goes to the company, so.
Okay. And we set the pricing rate for the equipment and everything else like that, like a starting or a
Right.
reserve
We
med?
set them in,
Okay,
so.
gotcha. Do we have a proposed amount of equipment and value, or?
I have not produced a value for them. Some of them, there's really no value, and then
Yeah.
there's some that are, fairly higher.
Gotcha.
Marcy, you had something?
I did. I was gonna ask if the last 2 lines for mowing expenses and landscaping contract, I can see how those offset each other. Can we combine those into just one GL account? Or are those specific to mowing expenses, meaning our public works crew, and we truly have a landscaping contract with another company?
So we're actually doing away with the landscaping contract, where it's all going under mowing. And that particular mowing is for City Hall, Ranch House, Crown, Meadow Place, Sandbass, those areas. I don't know why there was a landscaping contract without, can't answer that part, but we're getting rid of it completely, so. In fact, everything that was posted to it should have actually been in mowing expenses.
You can see the proposed is dashed out for landscaping contract for the proposed, and then it's moved up to mowing. So which is where it should be, because
Yeah.
it's really mislabeled for landscaping, so.
Marcy's got another one.
Sorry, did you already discuss the IT contract? Is that there's nothing proposed for the current year, but we spent almost 30,000 in this cycle? And it's zeroed out, there's nothing there for this next year. That is IT, right? The 29,795 and 74 cents?
Correct.
It was you? Quincy, you want to come up here real quick? Oh,
For city services?
The IT stuff?
Yeah.
Part was the stuff for our computer, our new campuses for the cars and.
No, yours is under police. Yours is under police department. This is city services.
I was just curious because in the past, it's always been around $5,000. And we've actually spent almost 30, but there was nothing proposed for the new cycle.
I need to look into that. I'll be honest, I just, off the top of my head, I can't tell you. And I don't have any notes on it.
is it our, that would be our billing for, so that'd be under enterprise, or it should, theoretically it should be.
Right.
So, Michelle, it's not ours, it's not under us, so we're saying, most of that money is under us, so that's where they need to look at. Make sure. For our radio system, it's not under us, under I.
Any other questions with city services?
Nope.
We'll move on to parks. Parks is one of those that it's essential, but yet it's hard to fund right now. We need growth in other areas, and so we've taken this down to bare bones, is what you're seeing. What is left in there, as far as park maintenance, that is because we will need to put some ADL.
Yeah, it's ADA compliant mulch for like Kingsgate Park and things. And that also includes like mats underneath the swing set, because we have to meet ADA standard for that, so there's no.
What is ADA mulch?
Has to be
it's
rounded.
like- yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's softer.
Has to be tumbled.
Is it still wood or is it rubber or?
Yeah, I think it's still wood, but I think it's, they do something and treat it to make it kind of rubbery.
Yeah.
more or
They,
less.
they tumble it so that there's no sharp, it's not as many sharp edges to it. So it's almost like rounded pieces of wood as opposed to just splinters, so that it's safer.
Okay.
I never would have thought that. That's all.
Okay.
And then we left 20,000 in for park improvements. We need to replace a piece of equipment, or
Yeah.
we need to do maintenance, basically.
I was gonna say, what's our maintenance look like on the parks currently? I mean, we're talking about WD-40 and some,
Well, in that area,
You know?
yeah, like chains and things.
Yeah.
And the elements rust out, parts like that have to be replaced, and then depending on, breakage, if slide malfunctions or things of that nature.
gotcha.
We had some
And
AstroTurf repair underneath of the playset. We had some of that had to be repaired.
Cross-timber part,
Yeah.
that turf,
Yeah.
repairs for that.
Gotcha.
Turf's not cheap.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Any others? We'll jump into streets.
Where are you going next?
About hot.
I was gonna say, I got hot,
Yeah, okay, I forgot.
I got
I
hot.
was like, where are you going,
water.
Michelle? Can't find you.
We'll go back to the streets. Hot funds, this is your hotel occupancy. As Jake said, there's 600,000
Chase, you're getting kicked out. Thank you.
currently in it. Baymont is behind in their payments by several quarters. They are working to come current. I actually have to call her back on Monday.
What do we do about that? Since that's been going on, Michelle?
Do
we fine them?
They can be fined. There's actually a formula that, depending on how far behind they are, how many months, how many years, that they can actually, and when they actually do concurrent, because most of the time they cannot sell their property until they come current.
Right.
One of the other chains will not buy it until they are. So that's the reason actually Baymont is interested in getting theirs caught up, because they're interested in selling. Or that is my understanding anyways. So there's not a lot we can do. Turn them into the Attorney General's office, but they're not going to do a lot either, so.
So if they can't afford to pay their taxes, they can't afford to pay our penalties.
They'll pay them, so
Yes.
eventually.
I was gonna say, we'll just put a lien on it and just be.
I will tell you, just in general, Baymont, that when they called the other day, there's one quarter that they're 2 years behind. I'm gonna say rough estimate, the taxes were $4,000 and they're now owe us $13,500, give or take, because of all the penalties related to it, so.
Okay.
That beats the stock market.
Way to run a business, okay.
So pulling out of here will be promotional supplies, special events, and the advertising.
And we've got how much in that account currently? You said 600 and
Like
something?
670 is what's up to you right
Wow.
So we're projected to only add about 10,000 to it. I mean, with
the expenses,
with moving a lot of
yeah,
the
I mean-
promotional stuff and everything back over to here, where Michelle kind of wanted it to go, so that way it meets the criteria that it needs to. Okay.
Rose, if we could, and this is just I'm spitballing here on this, I would like to look at pretty much every type of hot fund expenditure that we can do.
Okay.
As far as what promotes the city, like what are all of our variable options to utilize those funds? If it's on a monthly basis, if it's on a yearly basis, anything that those funds can be associated to.
Okay, so you want me to basically give you some ideas for allowable expenditures for that fund?
Absolutely.
Okay,
That'd be
I can
great.
put that together
Yeah,
for you
that would
for
be
sure.
great. Yeah, that would be.
What are there's like, what, 9 different things, right, that you can
Yes.
do? We talked about that way back when.
So basically, the two-part test is, does it fit in one of the 9 categories? And I'd have trouble rattling all 9 of those off the top of my head, but advertising, directional signage, there's some stuff in there about sports facilities, but that really applies to cities much larger than us. Some of the rules differ a little bit based on population size and things like that. There are certainly some opportunities for some expansion of that spending into some other things as we grow. But right now, it's going to fall a lot under special events, promotions, that sort of thing. And then also it has, on top of that, it has to meet the test of, is it going to put heads in beds?
Yep.
Does it potentially put heads in beds?
Yep.
One of the things that I thought was fantastic this year with that fund is we spent some money sponsoring the district for their summer entertainment series. And I have heard, and I've seen when I'm out there, there's people coming from out of town for some of these shows and staying at Spring Hill.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, some of the bands stay at Spring Hill as well. So we're able to show a very clear, these dollars are in fact promoting heads in beds in Willow Park. So we have to be able to show that.
So Rose, what about the promise? I know that is become pretty huge.
I believe we did the promise out of hot funds this year.
Uh-huh.
And they bring a lot of visitors to town as well, so I believe that meets the statutory requirements. Obviously, we'll have to go through the application process again like we did this year. And all hot fund applications for that type of thing do come to you guys.
Yeah.
Y'all are the final approval on that. I just make a recommendation.
And maybe increase that because it was lower on as far as,
I think that's a discussion we probably need to have. I think the amount that we gave the promise, I was very comfortable with that investment. I don't know how comfortable I am with a larger investment.
was it 10?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's 10, but we gave 20 to 760, is that right?
We gave,
and they're now not going to be back anymore.
they will not be back. I believe it was 15 that we gave to 760.
Right.
But 760 was able to provide us much clearer documentation of heads and beds.
So we need more from, maybe we can go back to the promise, the board, and ask for more documentation showing.
Rather than, and of course, I'm just spitballing, and again, this is going to be up to the desire of council, that ultimately you guys are the final decision makers on that. I'd like to see us diversify what we're spending our money
kind
on,
of what I was
rather than throwing larger amounts at what we're already spending our money on.
Yeah.
I think there are probably other opportunities that we have not seen yet, now that we officially do have an application program in place. The way that some cities do this is they actually do a grant period in the summer when they're setting their budget, and if you want in on the next year, you have to do like a full,
Yep.
but these are people who are dealing with multi-million-dollar budgets on HOT. Obviously, ours is much smaller,
Yeah.
and much more manageable. I don't know that it's a good use of our dollars to look at the ones that we're sponsoring now and say, let's double or triple that amount. I think diversifying our spending in this category is a much smarter way to spend the money.
That's kind of what I was leading to, because I know obviously at the district we're sponsoring that and everything else, but there's way larger items other than just music. There's all kinds of things.
Yes, and we have so much coming into the city and so much programming and so many different kinds of productions that I think we want to keep our options flexible.
And again, in return, create sales tax for the city, for all the
Absolutely.
adjoining
Yes, sir.
businesses and everything else, and then, so, yeah.
So you're going to look at those.
But we're going to look at a lot of things. Scott wants me to start with a list, and so
Yeah,
I
just
think
an
we start
idea.
there, yeah.
Because, we could use that as a marketing tool,
100%.
period, yeah.
Absolutely. And if you want, we can bring that back as an item at a future meeting.
Yeah.
Obviously, this will be the budget for this year, and that kind of gives you guys an idea of what we're operating as far as our
Yeah, no,
expenditures
that's
this
great.
year. But we have some flexibility within those line items, so I can absolutely bring forth a list of ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And is this, Michelle, or is this a interest-bearing account, things like that? Like, are we gaining, do we have any idea what our interest rate is on the savings side of that?
It's like 3.5 right now.
Is it?
Yeah, come down.
Still not
Right.
bad.
Okay,
Awesome. Thank you.
thank you.
Next is drainage fund. This is comes from the drainage fee that is on everybody's utility bill. Remember, 5 years ago, I believe we passed a drainage fee. So that is where this money comes from. Currently, we are using it to pay off debt for the large drainage project we did 22, 23. Gretchen's not here, but I believe it was Crown Point. Case, where all did we do that?
Yeah, it was Crown Point, there was a few things on Vista on the north end, big drainage behind Fox Hunt
Yeah.
Channel, and then Beavers Creek
Here you go.
drainage.
That's what we're currently using that for, is to pay off debt, so.
In that fund, we do have extra cash from that issuance, so that's something that we roll into the road project or something that you could use in that money.
And how much do we have there?
About 1.3 million.
Okay.
That would help get some roads done. Oh, we'd like that, okay. Citizens would like that very much.
Questions on drainage? Okay. Then we will start into our enterprise funds. This is gonna be water and wastewater, so Chase gets to come make himself comfortable, so.
Water first.
Right now, under the revenue, it was proposed last year, we bring in 3.4. I'm not gonna say that that's not possible, we may still hit it. We're currently at 2.2. I have not billed for this month yet. Rain affects this, and we had rain early in the summer, and we could tell it. I did bring our revenue down a little bit on that. Hopefully, we actually make more than what I'm projecting, but there's always that possibility, so. Everything else stayed fairly similar. I will say we had a very good year so far in impact fees. Impact fees, however, do not contribute to your overall fund. They get pulled out for special projects, like we are doing with the what I'm calling the West Bankhead utility expansion, which is running the sewer line along Bankhead there. I do want to clarify a couple. 20-020-58-214, it says finance charges. This is actually misleading. This is credit card. This is when somebody comes and runs their credit card. We have to still pay that fee. So we get it in user charges. We have to pay it out. So that is what that is.
Question on that. So we see so many different businesses adding a credit card surcharge on everything now, especially when you're doing charges. Is that something we would consider
It's not.
to supplement?
I haven't considered it, no.
Okay.
We don't pay the 3% though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a pass through.
Okay.
Oh, so the processor's charging that and direct to the back? Okay.
Yeah, you know, like if you go get a pizza or something,
Yeah.
if they don't use a credit card, they don't charge you an extra 3% to use the card. We do, so we do
Okay.
pass that through.
Oh, we do? Okay,
Yes,
good.
we don't eat that cost, that's directly, so if they're paying $100, they're paying $103, and we tell them that there is a 3% fee when they use their credit card.
Perfect.
So, yeah, we don't eat those fees.
Michelle, do we have I noticed that we've projected for 3.25 for user charges. Do we have an average per, I know this is obviously business, residential, everything, but do you have an average cost per meter or average cost per user kind of count? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot on
I
that, but.
do, but I can't give you a number right now. I can
That's
go, but let me get building done on Monday, and I can actually
Yeah,
give you that to you.
Projection wise is how I'm looking, like, I'm looking at Country Hollow behind me. I think they've got 6 new house builds. I think they had 4 sold signs, but they still have 70-something lots still available that should be built out in the next year. I didn't know if that was a projection we're already looking at, or is that?
We do figure it in some. I will say, new builds are kind of hard because you don't know what the family's going to, like, is it a single person like me?
Yeah.
I use less than 2,000 gallons.
Yeah.
But if full family, they might use
Yeah.
20, you know, so.
That's why I didn't know if there was like an averaging cost or an averaging effect to the values, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
We've tried to keep everything else fairly flat.
I know we went a little bit up on the water meters. Obviously, every new build is a meter, and we're also looking at kind of putting in a higher end meter that's different than what we have now, that has more functions.
Yeah.
You know, potentially, once we get the system to where we eventually, where I'd like to see it, monthly cutoffs can be done on the computer.
Yeah.
Versus sending, 2 guys out all day to turn water on and off continuously.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit more in that, just because we are looking at.
So like valve control?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
it's internally inside the meter
Yeah.
itself versus having to physically go turn it off on site.
Well, and that would be nice too, when people get home, they don't have water, they can just call the city and be like,
Well, and there's a function on there that with these meters that you can set it to where it's not fully off. You get very low restriction. I mean, you can flush a toilet, but it takes a
Yeah.
while to fill up.
What's the time frame on getting that, you think?
Oh, that's a long time doing it. These are just putting them in as we're going.
Oh.
You want to speed that process up, that's a contract buying all the meters in bulk.
Yeah.
A big expense.
And we just put these current
Metered in.
meters in. They're not even 5 years old yet, so.
yeah.
And they have normally a lifespan of about 20 years, give or take.
Good walk, okay.
One thing I did want to point out in this one is legal services, 20-020-58-416. That is the half lawsuit there. So we do expect that to wrap up this year as we are headed to court sometime in late April. I also wanted to point out, I put 20,000 in capital projects contracts, 20-020-58606. This is anticipation of y'all possibly joining the PUA. And then water purchases, we've left 400, and that is going to be the water we purchased from Fort Worth. One of my dictates to the water department this year is during winter, we need to come off of Fort Worth as much as possible and use our own water, and they did, and see it in their price tag.
Yeah.
Do we need to do any type of maintenance on any of our wells, or are our wells still in really good shape from the maintenance we did, I believe in 2019, 2020 is when we did it?
Yes, I believe. Yeah, they're all fairly good shape. I mean, give or take, pump here or there, but we really haven't had any major issues with
Good.
wells other than the occasional pump.
Right.
Marcy?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what Michelle just said before Chase spoke. Could she repeat that? About the, I guess,
PUA?
going on primarily wells, is that what she said?
Yes.
During the winter months?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Michelle?
Any other questions on water? We'll move to sewer. I hate to say it, sewer was the easiest budget, and it never usually is, but I'm gonna be perfectly honest, we have no idea what this new plant's gonna do. We have no idea what it's gonna look like. I mean, we know what it looks like, but we don't know chemical, we don't know electricity, we don't know any of it until we start running it. So this is literally a flat budget. There's nothing changed in it. We went up a little bit on electricity because our electricity was already up. Yeah.
I mean, surely it's going to be more efficient, right?
That is the hope, yes.
Okay.
Does this also include the new pump station we put on Bankhead and all that?
That's been, yes, actually, yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was the other one. Yes, you're correct. It does include that lift station as well.
Okay.
Jean?
Yeah, I'm curious, it's very pleasant that we're getting interest revenue for the sewer system, which means we have a fund somewhere that's making money for us. Are we going to publish the fund balances somewhere in association with the budget?
Most of that interest is in, the vast majority was from when the bond was issued and the money had been, was restricted within that bond account.
Okay, so there are no funds associated with water or wastewater?
Operationally?
Yes.
Yes, there are. But I guess what I'm saying is the bulk of the revenue on the interest income is related to the money from the issuance of the bonds for the construction of the wastewater treatment plant. So that's coming down. I mean, that obviously has come down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have a fund somewhere, are we going to publish what's in those funds? That's the question.
The bank account balances? Those are in that quarterly report every time. When I present every quarter, it has all the breakdown of all the bank accounts. So it has the operating account, and all the bond accounts. Yeah, those are all listed on there.
So it's over here.
Correct.
It's over here. Are you going to publish it with the budget?
If I'm not clear in your question.
He just
You said
wants,
splitting the interest between operations and what's in the bond?
no, he wants to visually see it on the budget so we can see what balances. Is that what you're talking about? You want to see it together?
Go look in two places for pertinent information.
Yeah, can you put it on the budget so you can see what your balances are? I think is what he's
The
asking.
cash balance?
I think that's what he's asking, right?
Well, the purpose of the budget is you're looking at a period of time of operations. Cash balances, right, at a specific, date and time, how much we have in cash. But this is looking at more operating, how much we bring in, how much is going out, right? And so the money in those bond accounts is used to finish the construction on the package plan.
Okay.
Does that help at all? I don't know if I answered your question, but.
Good for now.
Okay.
Any questions regarding sewer?
No?
And we will go back to salaries real quick. Todd, can you switch over, please? Sorry. Thank you. Tony, do you want to handle this?
Is that for water public works?
I
we're
was
just looking at-
starting at admin and then.
Oh, okay. So we're changing a few of the positions around a little bit, kind of reallocating where we needed more help and then kind of where our strengths are. So changing around a few of finance associates versus finance director. And then that would be for moving also some HR over that. So the HR specialist and finance associate doing accounts receivable would be for Andy. And then Mandy, she'll still be doing some parks, but primarily moving into finance associate also, but doing accounts payable. And that's mostly what they're doing now. It just delineates it a little bit. We're looking at moving, so Mandy's salary is in parks right now, so that's going to be moving out and then moving into the other funds for that, because she'll be moving really mostly to finance, although she'll be helping with parks. So we don't really have a full necessity for parks director, so we're kind of reallocating a shift on some of these things. So adjusting salaries as such, changing job description and responsibilities of Rose a little bit. We're going to make her the community relations director. And so that is based on feedback that we've gotten from council, mayor, and from our residents of just the fact of really, instead of just not just communication, but really community engagement. So really being out there, communicating with our businesses, our residents. The university was something that obviously starting already. Rose has also been taking over a little bit more administration as far as helping with Michelle and me for doing some special projects and things of that administration wise. And so just changing her around a little bit. And then Michelle will actually be, spoiler alert, moving up to CFO. So she'll be the chief financial officer, and that moves her out to be over entire finance. So finance associates, both Andy and Mandy, will be working on APAR for Michelle, who's doing the overall finance department. So just trying to reallocate, making us more efficient, more effective of where it makes the most sense for our staff to be as we're growing, and just to really utilize those skills better, in better ways.
Congratulations, Michelle.
Maybe cannoli at this, truth be told.
Which will it be?
It's not going anywhere. Jake will have to stay here and hold my hand forever, actually, so. So before you, it's breakout, we did do a 3% for all other departments. Remember with PD, we were proposing a 5. We also gave you what the 10,000 looked like. We'll need to kind of know what y'all want to do on that, but for the others, there's a 3%, and that's breakout. Just so y'all are aware, so admin, so Rose, Andy, Mandy, part of Tony's and mine, we will have to come from water as well, just to balance out. So they're all, Rose, Andy, and Mandy are 50% from water. Tony is gonna do a 25% from water. And then I will do 50% from water, 25% from sewer, and 25% from admin, general fund, so. And on water and sewer, you can also have those as well as those breakouts on that. Related to this, but also want to point out, you also should have a longevity page. One thing that actually Marcy last year asked about was doing a more fair, right now when we do longevity in December, we give everybody a pet. Normally it's $200 to $300 depending on how it is. I actually, where I came from, we got paid $5 for every month we were there. And so I took that and considered it for this. And so you can see the breakout on what longevity would be for each employee. The 2 rules regarding it is that you have to be a full-time employee and you have to be here longer than a year.
That was also based on feedback that we got last year, so.
That's true.
Marcy.
I just want to say, I think this is great. People have been here the longest should be getting more.
Who's been here the longest?
Charlie.
250.
There you go. And the next,
Kevin,
and then the next?
Chase.
Chase? Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
No,
Chase at 146.
Low. Low's a 155.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Michelle Loeb.
Michelle Lowe's been here forever.
Thank y'all. Okay.
Y'all have any questions or concerns? Throw the whole thing in the, out and start over, or, I mean,
Great job.
suggestions?
If we find we need to reduce in one area, what's our starting point? Where do we look first to potentially make any cutbacks if needed? You know, just out of the whole budget.
Parking tickets.
Good question. Right now, I did not give this to y'all, and I apologize for that. I show a difference of 360,000. Of course, again, I don't know what certifieds are gonna look like, so we may be perfectly fine.
It's been the $1 million question for
It really has. So-
And we don't really have an answer.
And when do we get those? Is it the end of July?
Yeah, we should have them next. this coming Friday.
Okay.
Do we have any spot, I know we talked about PD, but do we have any spots on the city side that need to be filled, like this Chase need people? Are you fully staffed?
Not fully staffed where I would like to be, but we're comfortable.
Okay.
We don't need to request anything
Okay.
on our end.
What about City Hall? Do we have everybody filled is what we need?
I think I failed to say that Andy's actually also going to move over to Human Resource Specialist, and so she's going to be taking over that role and getting training for that, to be part of that, to take that off of Dina, and her payroll will still be in that, so, for her doing payroll. So we're kind of filling, I know that was one thing that Buddy was talking about as far as having an HR department per se. As we're growing, that's becoming more important. It's taking a lot more time from Dina to do, especially insurance and things of that, as we're having to do a lot more involved with that. So we're putting her in that role and getting her some training for that so that
Good.
she can take that over. We're just trying to add more hats to the people that we have. Because
Sure.
we don't really have availability to create more positions right now.
Yeah.
So,
I would say that, from my perspective, we've given a lot of discussion to the police department salaries, and we've talked about where we are from a competitive standpoint on city salaries. And I know that it looks like in the budget, we've talked about just a 3%. And I don't know that that's going to cover where we need to be from a competitive standpoint. So I would probably ask that we budget a little higher just for planning purposes, maybe. And I'd rather shoot high and come in low than shoot low and go over. Does that make sense?
It's just a matter of where you can find the funding for that. Like you
Right.
said,
Yeah,
we're already
understood. I mean,
low,
yeah.
Right.
At the end of the day, your option is obviously raising the tax rate, to create more revenue. but-
Not in the plan, but
That's what I'm saying. So that's the only rub on some of those is that,
Right.
as you can see, there's not a lot of capital items, discretionary items, things like that to cut. And so at a certain point, if your revenue is what it is,
Yeah.
that's the concern on that,
Sure.
And so then it's a matter of, like, I think the best thing is reshuffling or, being the most efficient with the personnel you have.
Right.
Because, and that's what I think when you ask that question, what do you cut? It's like, there's not a lot of just, hey, we'd like to do this big project, but if we don't have money, we cut it. There's not a lot of those line items.
Right.
Well,
Is there anything that we could defer for, say, a year or two, like something that needs to be done, but if we can hold off a year, potentially get a clearer picture on, and give another year for potential sales tax revenue or whatever the case may be? Is there an area, I'm kind of rephrasing my original question, but instead of just making a cut completely, is there something that could be deferred for a year or more that, and it may not be able to be answered now, but as we move forward through the rest of these discussions, that's one thing I'd like to see is what are the pressing issues, like the non-negotiables must be done, what are the things that potentially could be deferred, whether it's an upgrade on, like, I know your computer's old, but if we do just half of the computer upgrades, can we get by for a year? And some of those sorts of things to start looking at the items that we can potentially get by with, even though it may not be fun, as we look to all our potential options, so.
Okay, so you think about that?
yeah, I would argue that employee retention is cheaper than rehiring.
Very much so. We'll agree with that.
Okay, so Michelle, are you done?
Unless y'all-
Okay. So would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Move we adjourn the budget workshop meeting.
I second.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Dina, you got that? Okay, all in favor? Okay, it's 10:44, we're going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much. Thank
Good
you all
job,
for
everyone.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
big shout out to Michelle.
Appreciate it.
Good job.